Okay, yesterday I was talking to my friend who's also traveling to the same race that I'm doing this Sunday, and he was talking about how to prepare for this and asking me how to prepare for this, how to put himself in the best possible shape so that it's a long flight for him. It's a 7-hour flight. How to get ready for that flight, how to make sure that he's landing in best possible condition, and then what to do once he gets off the flight in the next couple of days in order to make his legs as strong and as fresh as possible for Sunday. And there are a few things that you can do in order to maximize how quickly you recover from the flight, because it takes a lot out of you. You'll notice when you fly, your legs get bloated, and it's not a good thing for your body. You do recover quickly, but the quicker you can recover from that flight and the quicker that you can start to get fresh, bring your heart rate down in runs and get ready for the Sunday, the better. And there's a few things you can do to make that happen as fast as possible. First thing is, I know they look silly. I know they look silly when you see people running with them, but compression socks, I only wear them when I've usually got an injury and I need that muscle. If you think about compression socks, if you can get compression calf sleeves, they're almost a little bit tighter, but if you're on a flight, your whole foot and lower leg will start to swell. And so it's good to have something that's compressed in that. So what I'll do is I'll put the calf sleeve on, which is essentially compressing that muscle. So you use that if you've got an injury and if it's something like to do with the ligament in your lower leg or a tendon in the lower leg, that's holding the muscle strong together, But what it's doing for you on the flight, so if the muscle's not moving around, then you're not putting as much stress on the ligament or tendon that's holding that muscle in place, or it's attached to that muscle. So it helps you with anything like tendonitis, which is a really, really good thing. And that's why compression socks, they are great, even though they look silly. So I'll put the compression calf sleeve on, which basically looks like a sock that will go from your ankle to the top of your calf. And then on top of that, I'll put full compression socks on. So it's like double. And what that will do is hold everything in, the muscle, the tendons, ligament, but also it will stop your foot from swelling. And then whilst you're on the flight, if you've got that, make sure you put them on before you set off, because very quickly as the plane rises, gets to high altitude, that's when your foot will swell, and then throughout the flight. So put them on before you set off, put them on while you're waiting to get on the flight. That's best, Don't worry about how stupid you look. Like, it's all about the race. It's all about focusing and being as powerful as you can for the race, Then once you've done that, once you're on the flight, get up and walk as much as you can. So be stretching, be kind of like, nothing intense, but when you go to the bathroom or the back of the plane, just be kind of doing some leg swings, move the blood around your body, get the circulation going, leg swings, like moving the arms around, really important, like maybe doing some really small, light calf races with both, and just letting the body know that, although you're putting it into the strange situation where it's all of a sudden it's like being on top of Everest or 38,000 feet or 38,000 meters, whatever it is, however high you are, 10,000 meters, you've got to get your body ready, and you've got to be ready for Sunday. So that's the first thing. So compression socks are really useful when you're doing flying, especially the further you're flying, the better they are. Even if I go on a 2.5 hour flight from here to Berlin, for instance, for Berlin Marathon, I'm going to put on compression socks because I don't want to land with any kind of swollen ankles. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, during the flight and before, make sure you're super hydrated going onto the flight. You're going to need to get up and go to the bathroom, but it's more important to be super hydrated. And then through the flight, they're not going to give you big portions of water. So make sure that you've got your bottle filled. You've got a bottle filled that you've had to pay for after security. I get that, but it's part of the planning in order for you to be powerful on the race, on the weekend for your race, So if that means going through security and then having to purchase water at the price of gold, which is ridiculous, I know, but making sure that you've got 1.5 liters or whatever for your flight, if your flight's 6 hours, you need 1.5 liters. So making sure you do that and you have enough water and you're able to do that throughout the flight. And also don't get hungry. So if you're going to rely on the tiny little portions that they give you on the flight, then you're probably going to land and you're going to be hungry. And you don't want to be hungry 3, 4, 5, 6 days before the flight. So I always take a Tupperware box with porridge, and maybe put some sugar on the top so it tastes nice. Take your spoon with you. You know, it's all about planning. And then once they come round, they've obviously got hot water because they're making coffees and teas. Ask them to put some hot water on your porridge and eat porridge. Don't worry about how silly that looks to everybody else on the flight, how stupid that question looks to the flight attendant. Don't worry about that. You're in your mind, you're preparing for a race. You're acting like a professional. So compression socks, hydration, super important. And then porridge, like, or something that you can go to that you can eat a lot of, like pancakes. Great, like I had tofu pancakes, ate a lot of those on the flight. So I'm never getting hungry on the flight. Then after the flight, when I land, it's going to take you getting through, collecting your suitcase, going through passport control, all that kind of thing. It's going to take you an hour. So you got your flight, then you got an hour, but what I will say is, once you've got off the flight, take it a little bit easy. Like, you don't like go sprinting for the front of the queue. Take it a little bit easier. Realize that your legs will have, even with compression socks, leg will have swollen a little bit. So go easy. But you don't want to like have a tiny little niggle because you've got off the flight and started running, or whatever. So just go really easy. Feel stuff out in your body. You'll probably be a bit tight in different places. Don't let that get into your head. Just be ready for that. Know that it's natural. And then just take it easy. You're going to probably do a lot of walking from the gate. If you don't, make sure that you do a lot of walking that day, or quite a lot of walking. Go for 20-30 minute walk wherever you're staying. Eat really well. Again, hydrate to the maximum. Drink as much as you can. Eat really well that day, and then the next day, what you need to do is you want to wake up and get into your rhythm as soon as possible. So you want to wake up, rest as much as you can, so sleep as much as you possibly can, because you're probably sleep deprived the day before, especially if you had an early morning flight, especially if you're not had sleep on the flight. Sleep as much as you can that night, and then get into your rhythm by getting up and going for a super slow run. Now keep a hold of your heart rate, check your heart rate and see how recovered you are from the flight. It probably is the fact that in my experience, my heart rate is elevated to what it usually is. What does that mean? Like, it means that your body's just gone through something that's pretty unnatural. Yeah, you just put your body from sea level to high altitude within the space of literally 15 minutes, right, on a flight. So it's been in a pressurized, I think pressurized air cabin. It's different. That's why your food won't digest properly on the flight, because you're up at high altitude, and different airline companies will have the level of oxygen inside the air cabin at different levels. So if you travel on an Emirates flight, for instance, you'll feel that you're not as fatigued when you get off the airplane as when you're on other airlines that don't have that, and they kind of like. So for example, let me try and explain this well. On an Emirates airline, it's not like you're at 2,000 meters. It's not like you're at 1,200 meters. They bring it down so that it's almost like you're just at a mild high altitude, something like 800 meters. Whereas on other airlines, they put the passenger part where you're sat, it's like you're at 1,500, 1,800 meters. There's a big difference to that. So if you don't want to be spending, you don't want to be spending 6 hours at 1,500 meters altitude if you're used to being at sea level all the time. But get into that rhythm as soon as you can. So go for a really light run, just check your body, see how you're doing, and know that on the days preceding that, you want to fly in ideally 3-4 days before, so that first day, even if it's a shock to the body, it's a new area, maybe it's hotter than you're used to, you get used to that, check your heart rate, and over the next 2 or 3 days running, keep it super slow and light. There's no fitness that you're gonna take, that you're gonna make there for the race. Just get into your rhythm very, very quickly, and the goal is to have fresh legs on race day. Simple as that.